Black SUV had been doing donuts along with other vehicles on Normandy and Gage Sunday night, but people in the crowd stopped that black SUV when they realized there were children inside. You see someone taking young kids out of the SUV. At one point, this exchange with the driver.
Drunk driving with kids! I'm not even drunk!
So on this channel, we have covered the phenomenon that is very popular in the state of California in multiple different cities across California, which are the street takeovers, sometimes referred to as sideshows, where a bunch of people get together, sometimes with stolen cars, they start doing donuts, they end up trashing the place, they block off traffic, and of course, subsequent accidents and of course violence, because people get into disputes over these street takeovers, end up emerging. But in this particular case, in this particular neighborhood, where by the way, they rain terror on the neighborhood each and every weekend doing this terrible behavior, one person, one individual decided to cross the line. One woman decided to do something so criminal, dangerous, and disgusting that these other criminals who enjoy doing this and wrecking their community decided they needed to intervene, and that's what we're going to talk about today. A mother who was drunk doing donuts with her own children in the car during one of these street takeovers, and the other criminals saying, whoa, 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 that is a bridge too far. Now, we're going to get into this, but before we do, I want to thank everybody who supports this channel via actualjusticewarrior.com/join.
Give me the money. Give me the money. Okay?
A street takeover this weekend ends up with participants actually stopping one of the drivers from doing something even too dangerous for them.
She had children in that vehicle.
Yeah, this happened this weekend right behind us here. And the people who were there who are sharing the video with us are saying that they know that these things have a reputation for being dangerous, but that they don't want anybody to get hurt, especially children.
So that is the pitch from the local news affiliate about how these people are doing these street takeovers. They are committing these crimes. They're putting people in danger, but in reality, they are thieves with hearts of gold. They're innocent Beba Angel Aladdins who don't want anybody to get hurt because honestly, they're just trying to have a good time, even though they're engaged in this dangerous behavior. And I am glad, let's be clear, that eventually they ended up policing themselves a little bit, but make no mistake about it, every single one of these stories is a reflection of the piss poor legacy of Black Lives Matter, the soft on crime policies that they put forward, because this is what California has been allowing to go on unchecked, and obviously it leads to dangerous scenarios. We talked about them numerous times, and one of the craziest things that we covered in a previous story is that one of the Democrats decided that the solution would be to allow this to happen and figure out a way in the law in order to let them tear up the streets because they think there's just nothing they can do. Well, these are the consequences of nothing you can do. People getting so upset at a participant in one of these street takeovers that they actually intervene with it, that they decide to draw the line because law enforcement and the state of California refuses to do so.
Look at this. A crowd gathers around one of the vehicles at a street takeover. Black SUV had been doing donuts along with other vehicles on Normandy and Gage Sunday night, but people in the crowd stopped that black SUV when they realized there were children inside. You see someone taking young kids out of the SUV.
So look, I just want to say that I knew from the jump, from the still images, from this local news segment, that everybody involved in this story was going to be Latino. I mean, I just had that feeling that my people, or at least half of my people, were going to be involved in this. And I just want to say for you guys out there in the audience, because some of you believe in collective responsibility, that I do in fact apologize for me actually doing this, because that's how group identity and being a member of a group works. You are responsible for all the no good bad things that a certain segment of that group does. But make no mistake about it, even though these people acted well given the circumstances in the context that they're in, everyone in this crowd is a criminal, and this is a predictable consequence of this behavior. The potential for children, for innocents to get killed and hurt, to be attacked. We've seen it all before, and these people are trying to pretend like they have a moral paradigm all of a sudden, when in reality, this is the kind of behavior that they invited here, and this is what we see on full display. again, it's shameful. Obviously, this woman is more shameful than the rest of them. But in reality, if you weren't encouraging this, if this wasn't the environment that California allowed to be created, we wouldn't see this.
At one point, this exchange with the driver.
Drunk driving with kids. I'm not even drunk. You're getting your kids taken away.
All this in front of residents at the intersection who say the takeovers happen almost every weekend.
So as you can see right there, these people also noticed that this woman had been drinking. She screams back, "I'm not even drunk." But again, would a not drunk person be okay with people opening her car door and taking her children out of her vehicle? She seems to be angry about this, but still comparatively to the situation, rather nonchalant. And honestly, if she wasn't drunk and she made this with a sound, sober mind, decision to do these donuts, I would be even more angry. In addition to that, I will also point out that the local news affiliate said that this was a black SUV when clearly the SUV is blue. The color is in fact blue. You are wrong unless this is some kind of optical illusion or prank on me. That is a blue SUV.
Y ella la que andaba manejando con los niños.
She was driving with the kids. Estaba dando donuts. Estaba dando vueltas.
Estaba dando vueltas ahí.
So here you have somebody saying what went down. Obviously, we saw that in the video. Obviously, we saw the kids in the car. We saw them getting removed from the car. But I think the bigger issue is not the faux pas that occur in these street takeovers. People not following the common courtesies of putting your children on the side of the road when you decide to do donuts. But the fact that this happens every week. Every weekend, they're engaged in this kind of behavior. And in this particular case, it could have led to the death of these kids. But make no mistake about it, there are children and teenagers in these crowds all over the place. They didn't even wait for it to be nightfall to engage in this behavior. So every time they do this, they are at risk of seriously injuring innocents, seriously injuring children. In fact, many a times in these street takeovers, they do this with stolen cars, and the people driving the cars are in fact children themselves.
Hello? Hello? The driver of the black SUV did not answer her door as we wanted to give her an opportunity to explain her side of the story. People at the takeover, wary that it is an illegal activity, only spoke off camera saying the children were taken away by a relative. LAPD telling Fox 11 they responded to the takeover, but everyone scattered by the time they got there.
Now, of course, she ends up going to this woman's door, knocking on the door to try to get a statement from her, and she wisely does not answer the door and give a statement that would incriminate herself. But I just want to ask the question, if we have video of this occurring, why are there no arrests? Why have the police not gotten involved? And by the way, there is some common sense from the neighbors that don't participate in these street takeovers who do point out what I told you earlier, which is the main issue, which is these street takeovers happen every weekend. They're not uncommon. They are the norm in this area, and that is the major problem.
Residents say they wish LAPD would stop them altogether.
Como dos veces me le
2 times already. When they run off, they hit the cars. So, wow. She says her insurance has gone through the roof after having to fix her car, one of the many on the block that have been hit, even while they're not taking part in all this.
So here you have this woman who was explaining earlier what went down. She also points out that they end up sideswiping the vehicles on the streets around this area, and the neighbors just keep getting victimized every single week when they decide to do these street takeovers. And again, look at the footage for yourself. Look at how dangerous this is. She's going the opposite way doing donuts while cars are going again against her, and it looks like it's an accident waiting to happen. And maybe it's not the most serious accident, but do you trust this woman who's drunk driving and doing donuts with 2 kids in the car to secure the kids in the car properly? I mean, I could already tell you that one of those kids was too young to be in the passenger seat, could have got clobbered by the airbag, which is very serious to injure a kid, if not deadly, and this is what is presented as perfectly normal behavior. And of course, the sensible neighbors are against it, but the city of Los Angeles, the state of California, just is baffled by how to engage with this situation. Now, I will point out that they have a new district attorney in Los Angeles who, had he got this case in front of him, would likely prosecute this seriously, but this is what residents of this state have had to deal with for years as soft on crime progressivism has taken over.
As for the woman in that SUV, there's no indication that she was arrested. LAPD still investigating.
Yep, you heard that right. Despite the fact that we have HD video of this woman, despite the fact that you could see the kids being removed from the vehicles, no arrests right now. LAPD still investigating. It is a tough issue for them to crack, and as of right now, they don't have enough detectives on it. Sherlock Holmes is busy. Maybe they're trying to call L, the greatest detective of all time, in order to look into this, because we just can't quite figure out if something criminal was afoot right here. We just can't quite solve for what might be the charges in this particular case. And I will just point out that we are in an era where YouTubers having disputes with Twitch streamers end up getting Child Protective Services called on them for nothing. Child Protective Services end up showing up and doing a full investigation, despite the fact that there was never any serious indication of anything going wrong with the children. But in this particular case, in Los Angeles County, what do we see? Nothing. Nada. Zilch. More crime, more street takeovers, more people getting accidents against their cars, insurance going up through the roof, because how could the city of Los Angeles, how could the Democrats possibly figure out a way to hold people accountable for crimes that they, by the way, film and upload on social media, even with a drone camera, which, make no mistake about it, that's what that is right there in that still frame. There's just no way they could figure out what to do and who's doing this when they all have social media accounts and they're broadcasting it live. But you know what? Those are just my thoughts. I want to know what you guys think about this whole situation down in the comments below. As per usual, if you like the video, show them by leaving a like, subscribe for more content, follow me on the social medias. You can support me via the support links in the description of this video. This has been me talking about a criminal that took it too far and was stopped by the other criminals. Till next time.